Hi there. It's Elaine Lindsay of True Social Media, your host for BBPTV. That's Business Banter Plus. True Social Media makes the internet easy. We do training, speaking, and management in social media, online video, and search optimization. And here at BBPTV, our amazing guests share their digital business adventures. They give us kind of the why of their passion, and they usually leave us with a tip about how you too can be successful in your unique business. I want to give a shout out here to our amazing sponsors. First of all, True Social Media, of course, but we also have TTLO Inc. and the Holistic Missile. We have the Start Something Show with Tina Dietz, and of course, the Business Success Cafe with the always amazing Kathy Demers. Thank you all. I now want to have you give a warm, wonderful welcome to my very special guest today. Hi there, it's the Biz Fairy Godmother, PollyAnna Brown. So happy to have you with us, PollyAnna.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
This is going to be great. Now, I have to tell you, okay, PollyAnna is an author, a speaker, a screenwriter, a scripted novel analyst, and this is only mentioning a few of the things she does. She's the creator of Storytelling Marketing, and that's trademarked, where she helps introverted entrepreneurs and business owners to create their business story and really show up authentically in the world. PollyAnna has 2 master's degrees. Psychology and creative writing. Now, can you imagine? Just look at this lovely woman. PollyAnna's work's been featured in Kindred Spirit Magazine, Wake Up World News, Spiritual Awakenings Magazine, eHow, and more. I mean, I could go on forever, but something cool. I hear she's a bit of a phenom in the kitchen, and she bakes these out of this realm lemon bars. I think we're going to have to ask about that. Together, she shares her fairy tale life with her handsome husband and an adorable pit bull son, Franklin. So I really want to say I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much. I am extraordinarily excited to be here, and I have been looking forward to this all week. And I can't wait to share some amazing value with your audience, which, hi, audience.
I love it. I love it. So I think what I want to do, because it really fascinates me how much you've packed into your life. So let's talk about, and this will blow people away, how long or when were you first working?
Oh, this is a great story. So
Yeah.
I started in the entertainment industry when I was 6 months old. I started really young.
Yeah.
And it was really fun for me because I started with beauty pageants and quickly went into child modeling and child acting. And by the time I was 2, I was singing and actually performing. So I have a long history in the entertainment industry, which grew into on film debuts and that kind of stuff, which is really fun for me. I was trained as an actress and singer, and I directed a bit. So I had a very long history, about, I'd say, 25 years as a performer. And I'm about to turn 30, so that's almost 30 years in the entertainment industry as a professional storyteller. And now I write, as you mentioned, I do screenwriting and novel writing. And so I'm very, very active in the storytelling realm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really wanted you to say that, because I felt if I said it, it just wasn't, the impact wouldn't be there. You're a lovely young woman, not yet 30, and you have more experience than probably half the people I've spoken to. and we're on show number 60. So, that says a lot. I met you just a few weeks back, and I have to say, I was so entranced by your entire attitude. That's why I asked you on the show, because people don't let her age fool you. PollyAnna is A, brilliant, B, has a wonderful business mind, and C, is just a genuinely lovely human being.
My face hurts.
Your little cheeks are going all red, so I don't want to take you too far and have you blushing right off the screen.
Well, thank you so much. That is incredibly humbling.
Well, it's again, people will see, you know, I can't you see exactly why I want to interview her, because there's just so much there, and she's so genuine. I think that's what's really, really lovely. So let's move things up a little. Let's talk about why you're the Biz Fairy Godmother.
Oh, that's another great one. I love these questions. They're fantastic. So I am the Biz Fairy Godmother because one of my clients, we were working together and she was having some issues with her marketing and she really wanted to rebrand. And I just kind of dove right in there within like 20 minutes of our first session and rearranged everything for her in a way that felt really good. And she told me for the first time, it was like someone actually saw her and saw her business, saw her vision, and could connect with it and help her to bring it through. So she actually said it's like having my own fairy godmother. And I went, oh, that's kind of perfect, because when I write fantasy, and I am tales. It's been a lifetime passion of mine. And so the fairy godmother hat just kind of fits. And the more I delved into it, and the more I worked with people, the more people kept saying it. And I just was kind of taken aback. I was like, this has a life of its own. I'm going to let it be. And so I add a bit of magic to everything that I do. So I bring the insights and, you know, all of the other pieces that are really needed to have a rooted transformation. But there's always that little twinge of spark in it. And that's how I became the Biz Fairy Godmother.
Well, I love that. And I love the idea of magic. Because let's face it, really good marketing that's genuine and resonates with people, it is kind of magic.
It definitely is. And it's got this life of its own where anytime that we make a connection, a human connection, and you feel that spark, there's really no other way to describe it than magic. And I always tell people what I do is I help them create those OMG Me Too moments, right? So if you can imagine sitting at a cafe and meeting someone for the first time and you're just kind of talking and kind of, you know, nonchalant about it. And then they say something about an experience that they had that was right in alignment with you, what you've experienced. And you go, oh my God, me too, right? Yeah. Bam. Connection, it's done. You're entrenched. You want to know more. You want to go deeper. And that intimacy is there. And that's what I love creating in marketing.
Oh, that's such a good point. That intimacy, I think, is where all the good businesses are going. Understanding that it's between you and I. You know, people do business with people, not business. And understanding that it takes that spark, that magic, to really get to that next level, I think is an incredible gift that you have. And also, I really firmly believe when your intentions are good and when you get to that right piece, things get kind of easy because it fits.
Yes, you should never have to push in your marketing. If you're pushing, it's because something isn't lining up. And that's just going to make you feel bad. It's going to either attract the wrong people or it's going to completely repel people altogether. So it's really about understanding your audience from an intimate space and being able to connect with them and talk to them as people. One of the things that's really helpful is if you can imagine talking to your best friend, right? It's not hard. You don't have to push it. And you talk completely different than if you were talking to a professor or if you were talking to a parent. So it's really that kind of juicy space where you're all you all the time, and you just magnetize those people to you because there's nothing in between. There's nothing to filter them out that they see as an illusory construct, which is something that in traditional marketing we see a little bit more of. There's that you over here and me over here.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is bring us together.
Oh,
So that, thank you. It's about being that expert who isn't on a pedestal, but is actually approachable. So real transformation, real learning, and real impact can be made. And for me, that is what it's all about. You know, going into work with someone who's doing amazing work, but for some reason just can't get their, you know, message out.
yeah.
When you see them get it, and then they're making impact in the world, they're bettering people's lives, they are creating these amazing experiences. That's like, oh my goodness, it's just overwhelming. It's so beautiful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's a key tip that you can take away from this is remember that the minute things start feeling difficult or you have to really, you know, angle stuff to try and get the marketing to fit. Okay, listen to that little inner voice. Okay, because if you can train yourself to know that, oh, hang on a minute, I'm working too hard, like this isn't flowing, it's just not flowing, and without getting overly esoteric, really being in that flow and having things just work. Yes, I keep thinking, but it just feels right, and there's nothing outside that you can say, oh, it was this particular thing or it was this particular thing. It's a sort of it's an overall feeling when just everything that you're putting together for a client or everything you're discussing with the client is just, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and goes along. I think that's intrinsic to what you do, and that magic, you're rubbing it off on the clients, so they too are bringing their magic to the table.
Exactly. And the thing that I love is when you remove all of those extra filters and you have that intimate connection with your audience, when they choose to work with you, their transformations are through the roof because you don't have to prove yourself to them. You've already done it. You've already shown up. I'm the no fluff, no BS kind of woman. And I will get very disheartened if I see a freebie, for example, if I opt into something that sounds wonderful and I look at it and I say, I didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
You know, and nothing's really there. That's very disheartening, and it can break down the trust you have in your people. But when you pull something that, even if it's short, like very, very small, not a huge deal, didn't take you long to put together, but it has real value and actually creates real transformation. And it doesn't even have to be a big transformation, but a mind shift, something that can help them see exactly what they need to do. That is by far so powerful for your audience that they've then created a bond with you that is unbelievable. And that's very exciting to me.
Oh, I'm so with you there. And not only that, but you get rid of all that extraneous, as you say, trying to prove yourself and all that extra time that's involved in trying to jump through hoops and, you know, make all the you know, overtures over and over and over again. That's when I think people have to start really paying attention, because if it is like molasses flowing uphill in January, you have to stop yourself and go, okay, this, yeah, those filters, you're calling them filters, and you're absolutely right. Taking all that, you know, falderall out of the between allows you in a much shorter time to give an awful lot more and share that expertise with the client.
Absolutely. And I like to remind people, like, don't even think about it as necessarily just the client. When you're providing value to a community, you get to just skyrocket to superstar status in your industry because your value is then undeniable. There is nothing that can be held up against it to really push you down. So then the world really does become your oyster, because it is up to you whether you're successful or not. And all it takes is showing up, providing the value, and knowing who you're talking to. Big takeaway, peeps. You have to know who you're talking to and talk to them in a way that is intimate, because you do know them. And a lot of times I'll see people talking to old versions of themselves, and you know what you needed to hear. You know, and those moments are just so incredibly precious, because when you see someone who has felt so lost or alone or misunderstood for such a long period of time, and they're trying to make this thing work that they know that they're meant to do, when you finally can speak to them and they feel heard and they feel acknowledged, there is a significant shift that overcomes their entire being, and they can step into their power and go ahead and make the impact that they were born to make. And that's really, for me, that's what marketing is all about. It is about that super special bond that you can create beyond time and space, where you don't have to even physically see somebody, and you get them and they get you. And that is, it's something that like makes me cry and tear up, because it's so beautiful that we're able to do that.
Yeah. And it's such, to me, I love it because it's such a mutual benefit. It's not, you know, it's not necessarily then about you or about the client or about any of that. It's about that incredible feeling of joint accomplishment, I think, is what, you know, when it's somebody you care about, they get to do something and it works really well, and you're like, yay, oh my God, that's so good. I'm going to give a little shout out here, actually, because on this topic, a friend who's also a business cohort, she has her first book signing this weekend at Chapters here in Ottawa, and it's an amazing book. Her name is Linda Babulik, and it's Zest Your Life. And she just, it's such a wonderful feeling to be a part of something about someone that you care about. And when you're authentic in marketing, you do care about each and every one of your clients. And they do become like friends and family, because it's your tribe.
Mm-hmm. And I love that, because I grew up, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, and he was a furniture salesman. He owned furniture stores. And so my first experience with entrepreneurship was the client is way over here, you are way over here, and there is no friendly relationship. And it's not really a practice that I subscribe to, because I'm such a feeling person. Yeah. And if I'm diving into the emotional life of your business, which is where the marketing messages really lie, then I need to feel an emotional connection to you, because and this is going to sound mean, I don't mean it to, but if I don't care about you as a human being, how can I care about the life of your business?
Yes.
And so there's a deep connection between an entrepreneur and their audience and their clients that is extraordinarily profound, that we've just started to scratch the surface of and really delve into. And it's really exciting to watch.
It is, and it's a whole different era, and I know exactly what you're talking about with your grandfather, and the fact is, we've really taken the blinders off as consumers, because each and every person that can get to an internet connection has the ability to learn anything. So you can't have that sort of, bait and switch, the old now you see it, now you don't, and heading for the lowest common denominator in advertising. It doesn't work anymore because the shackles are off. The prospects, the consumers, your clients, we all know what the smoke and mirrors was about, and it's no longer valid. And I think for a lot of people, that makes it very frightening. But for people who are already heart-centered, people that are mindful, it's actually really exciting because you can be that deep with your clients. You can go to the next level with your prospects. And I see you do that so well.
Thank you.
Which brings us to your group on Facebook, Entrepreneurial Sisterhood. I want you to expand the concept's lovely. So I want you to tell people how that came about and let them know how you become part.
No problem. So I love my group. My Facebook group it's my community. It's my family. It is so incredibly important to me. And they make me cry on a daily basis. I'm a crier. For those of you who can't tell, I'm a crier. Anytime I'm emotionally impacted, I will tear. And my community is full of these amazing women and men who are so open and brilliant, and they come in there to share their genius without promoting. Yes. And that's really what I love. My group, it came out of the desire to have community. I am someone who is relationship centered first. Relationships have to be on point, and they have to be respectful, loving, and mutually nourishing. And so when I was creating my group, which the person who taught me how to create a group was Jordana Jaffe. Quick shout out there. She's amazing. She's a Facebook group strategist. Oh, so wonderful. And she taught me how to put a group together. And I've wanted to figure out what values I really wanted to portray in my group. And the biggest things for me were sisterhood. And because I'm a wordsmith,
yes,
I want to explain the difference between a brotherhood and a sisterhood.
Please.
A sisterhood is a little more soft. It's a little more focusing on the nourishment that goes on in the relationship. And it has nothing to do with lady parts. It's just all about that sincere nurturing that happens when people come together to share and be authentic with each other and be vulnerable and also step into their power. And so to me, sisterhood is extraordinarily powerful, especially in an entrepreneurial setting. And brotherhood is a little different, where brotherhood is a little harsher. Even just the word itself has harsher tones. And it's not that it's bad, because it's a wonderful thing. But it's based more in competition and hierarchy than sisterhood is. And so men are completely welcome in my group. We have several who are lovely, lovely. And the difference is it pulls the competition out of the arena so that it's really a full community. And so I let everyone promote their businesses, their free offers and everything on Saturdays. But the rest of the week, it's learning. We're sharing our genius. We're asking questions. We're, being vulnerable in what we're going through so that everyone can show up and be there and support one another. And I give free stuff like constantly. It's so much fun, and I really love it. And for entrepreneurs who their main goal is to make an impact or make a difference, and they really value their audience, Facebook groups for me are the #1 way to build that community, because it's such an intimate space and it's literally built for connection. Yeah. So that's a little bit about my group. Oh, and everyone can join. It's totally cool. Did you want me to give out the way that they can join?
Absolutely, and we're going to make a point. It will be on PollyAnna's page on Business Banter Plus. All her connections are already there, but we'll make a point of giving you the right connection for the Entrepreneurial Sisterhood.
Yes, join there.
There you go. There you go. Well, that was easy enough. That was easy enough. But yeah, we'll be sure and get that up so everybody can jump on and join in. Now, I'm going to ask you something because when I prep for a show and I've met the person and I am seriously the second most curious person on the planet. I gave the research to my people, and from 2 different people, I got back the same thing. What's fairy dust? What's fairy dust? So I had to go look specifically at it. I said, like, what are you talking about? Exclusive beta fairy dust. Please explain.
Okay. So since I'm the Biz Fairy Godmother and copywriting, anything writing is my realm. I've been in it for almost 30 years. It's my baby. So when it comes to copy, I eat up the fairy tale fantasy theme. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm talking about bundles of fairy dust, I'm talking about bonuses in my programs. It's that little extra bit of magic that just takes it even further than your imagination can go. And so I thought it was a perfect analogy for it.
Oh, it's so good. And I love that the thread of fairy tales and magic and all of it is so well saturated throughout everything you do. It is very obvious that you are a great wordsmith. And just from listening to you today, I know everybody's going to totally get that because you comport yourself very well. I have to say that.
Thank you.
So we're going to get a little bit off business topic for a second and ask a more personal question.
Perfect.
How did you and your husband meet?
Oh my gosh, I love this story. I didn't know you were going to ask this. Okay, so my hubby, who is amazing and makes me like gush with giddiness, as you can see, I don't hide my emotions very well. My husband is the brother to one of my best friends. And this is an amazing story, actually, because my best friend and I almost never met. We started our friendship online. I was going through a spiritual reawakening, and I was in that phase where you're watching YouTube videos and shutting out the rest of the world. That's the phase I was in. And I was looking up a review on Ormus because I heard, hey, this is a really cool thing for your health. And I was like, okay. And I saw her giving this review of Ormus, and I went, she seems really remarkable. And I was really pulled in, and I went, let me see what her other videos are like. And I am not this person. I normally don't do this, but I actually reached out to her via email. And I said, I'm totally not trying to be a creeper. But I saw your videos and they really touched me, and I just felt a connection, and that's all I got. So all of the socially awkwardness was happening. And so she emailed me back and she goes, I really love connecting with kindreds. I'm really happy that you reached out. And I said, let me get a reading done. And so I had a reading with her, and she was the first intuitive that really gave me a kick in the butt.
Oh, wow.
I loved it. She did not placate me at all. And she called me on my stuff, which at the time I very much so needed. And she invited me to a retreat that she was having, and I didn't have the money for it at the time. And she told me, if you can get here, you can come. So I got the money together and I went on the plane, and the whole night before, the whole way there, I was having a panic attack. I was like, I need to stop. I need to turn around. I can't do this. And for those of you who don't know, I actually suffer from severe social anxiety.
Yes.
So for me, this was I'm going across the country. I was living in Ohio at the time, by myself, to a place I didn't know, to stay with people I didn't know. And I have a hard enough time with people I know.
Yeah.
So I made the trek across the country. I went and I actually immersed myself in the experience, and we were friends from then on. And then 3 years later, I liked one of the comments on one of her posts that was from her brother, and we started talking. And at first we were like, no, because we can't do that, boundaries and stuff. And so we were friends for a good long while before it turned romantic. And we both asked her, we're like, is this okay? She was like, yes. So it was just the most beautiful experience. There were so many different things, and we talk about this all the time, that had we not done that one little thing, it would have never happened. And he is hands down the best decision of my entire life. And I would not be here doing what I'm doing if it weren't for him.
Well, that is such a lovely, lovely story.
Thank you.
And I so wish you both so much happiness forever and ever and ever.
Thank you. I'm so excited because he's coming home to work with me. We just retired him.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because I know how exciting that has to be.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Now, okay, we have to understand here, and this happens a lot more than people realize. Your husband is, was the breadwinner, going out, working, because that's what we expect.
Yes.
That's we expect someone in a relationship is the one who is supposed to be the supporter, is supposed to do these things. And I love the fact that more and more your generation is absolutely just taking a firebrand to all those stupid old concepts. It's like, no. Okay, that's not how it has to be. And the fact is, I think either you said or I read that he really didn't like what he was doing.
Yes, he was doing a very good job, and just the company was not able to actually pay him what he's worth. And so working really hard and putting a lot of value into a company without having what feels like enough nourishment coming back is really hard. And especially my husband and I are extraordinarily close. And being apart all day, it's hard on both of us. And we have fur babies as well. So they miss daddy all day long, and mommy gets old quick. Daddy's totally the fun one. And so him coming home was the goal from the get-go. He has completely supported me so I could build my business, and gave me the freedom when I did have money coming in to invest it into my business instead of, taking care of business at home, which is such a beautiful gift. And he has always believed in me. And it's funny because I would always check him like, you really believe I can do this, right? And he's like, yes. If I didn't, I would tell you. I'm like, oh, I thought so. I just wanted to check. But no, he is an extraordinary supporter, and he's really brilliant, and he compliments me so well. And we realized that if he could come home, that not only would my business continue to grow and I could do the things that I love more and not have to do the things that I don't love so much, but he would feel more fulfilled because he is an efficiency expert. He can come in, look at a system, and just observe it for a little bit, and he can tell you exactly what it needs to tweak to take something that used to take 8 hours and make it a 1 hour to half hour job. I am not that person. No. I swirl around and not that person. So him coming home to help me like that is leaps and bounds way better than me trying to hire help or anything like that. And I think it's so cool because when I announced it in my community, I had the most outpouring of love that I've ever seen. It was so cool. And I found so many women are doing this. And their husbands are grateful. They're home with their kids. They're home with their partners. It's making the marriages stronger. And that's what I think is so beautiful is we used to look at work as like a way to get away from your spouse.
Yeah.
And, kind of like you said, I didn't even think of it as a generational thing, but My generation is focusing on bringing the spouses together more and deepening that intimacy and really supporting one another. And I think that's so beautiful. It takes trailblazer and just literally lights on fire every old adage and just says, nope, we don't need any more. We're good.
No, and I think it's wonderful. And the fact is, it's becoming more and more evident that this is something really your generation has harnessed and said, you know what? Our relationships, our being together is more important to us than simply having a job and paying the bills.
Absolutely.
You know, and that in itself speaks to how important having those connections are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's, for me, my marriage comes first. My relationship with my hubby is the number one thing. And my business, because it was funny, I originally had a 2-year goal to bring him home. That was my goal. And I was going to do it. And then one day he just looked at me and he didn't want to go to work. We had a few extra days at home together that were amazing.
Yeah.
And he got up to leave and I could see like it was causing him real pain. Yeah. And his eyes got glossy, and my husband is not a crier. I am, but he is not. And he didn't want to go. And I could see it. And, you know, he told me, and I made a promise that day, within 2 weeks, I would bring him home. Mm-hmm. And I did, exactly 2 weeks. He put in his notice and was leaving. And it was a beautiful thing because we were worried that the company he was leaving was going to be mad. And they were actually very excited for him. They were excited for us. And they have been so incredibly supportive, and they have been wonderful. So it's kind of different because I hear a lot of corporate horror stories. Yeah. And we don't have that. And I think it's really important to let everyone know you can do this in a beautiful way where you're not necessarily saying F you to an establishment of any kind. Yeah. You're just really owning the value of your life and of your experience.
And you end up going with the flow.
Yes.
When everybody's on board and says, yeah, this is a good thing.
Exactly. And I think that was really helpful to him because very much so, especially his bosses, he was really close with and really, really respected his people. And they have been very good to us. And so it wasn't as much of a, you know, we need to bring him home because all of these people are awful, horrible people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, as much as it was the most fulfilling choice that we could make to make our lives extraordinarily abundant and loving is to bring him home, to give him whatever it is, whatever experience it is that satisfies him and nourishes him and makes him feel complete on this next phase of his journey and into the next evolving step.
So in essence, it was a positive change to nourish him more. Yes. He wasn't escaping so much as he was evolving.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the difference. And my husband is also very entrepreneurial, where people will stay because they feel like they need to because nothing bad is happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it doesn't require something bad to happen for you to shift or to make a shift, especially in your business. It's about really owning where you are and saying, no, I'm ready. And committing to that readiness without it being a scary unknown. And one of the things that we talked about is our entire relationship has been, we go into a crucible with everything, and it always works out for us. And this was the same way. There wasn't necessarily a safety net for us, but it was the right time. It was the right decision. And we said, let's do it. And
well,
so we did.
You know, in some instances, I think you both have good heads on your shoulders, and that's part of how you could do it. But for some people, a safety net is simply a crutch.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The safety net is something that we tell ourselves that we need because we don't trust ourselves to create what it is we want and desire. And one of the things that shifted my entire business mindset and really helped me launch everything. I mentioned before, I am an introvert and I've got social anxiety like crazy. And so being visible was really hard for me. And I went, you know what, I really want to work with a business coach. I think that that'll be the key, right? And so I talked to a few, and then there was just this one who really called me on my stuff, and I went, this is my woman. This is who I need. And I needed $5,000. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do that? The biggest year I'd had before was $1,200 in the year.
Wow.
That was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. And I was like, okay, I have to do something. What can I do? I didn't have any of the traditional routes to go. I couldn't get a credit card. I couldn't borrow money from anyone. I wasn't eligible for loans. There was nothing to do. I'd already sold everything keeping the business afloat. And what it came down to was I realized, oh my gosh, I have services that I can sell. And I just have to put myself out there. And so I really started, that's how my marketing system was born. Because I had been using traditional marketing tactics and for years, and they never worked. My business didn't go anywhere, and they didn't feel good. I didn't like them either. But I was told that's what you do. And I was like, all right, that's what I'll do. And so nothing ever happened. So when I knew that I had to create this money and I needed to sell my services and be visible, I said, you know what, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it my way. And we're just going to see what happens because that's not working.
It didn't resonate with you.
No, it didn't at all. And so I actually created a marketing system for myself that I was like, this feels good. This feels right. Let's run with it and see what happens. In 30 days, I made $5,000.
All right.
And so I paid for my business coach. I kept on going from there. And that was when I realized that my marketing system was actually something I could teach.
Right. Right.
And the rest is happily ever after.
It is happily. And so on theme. God, I love that. Yeah. My grandmother used to say, needs must. And what she meant by that was, you know, things seem out of range or that huge chunk of money, but deep inside you knew that you had to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's what drives us. Needs must. If a need has to be met, we will shift heaven and earth to do that. And listening to yourself and understanding how important that was to you is the best thing you could have done.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, I think in story. So as a storyteller, I think in the way that stories are constructed and the way that characters are, you know, shared and made and built. Yeah. And one of the things in story writing that is so compelling is someone's why, someone's need is always life or death to them. Whether that's an emotional life or death or a physical life or death, it is always life or death. And for me, the only whys that work in business are life or death. And I can move multiple mountains in a short amount of time as long as that why is life or death. So another takeaway for you.
Whoa, that's a great one.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It will shift your entire world. If it doesn't feel life or death, it is not compelling enough. And you are going to procrastinate and it's not going to work.
Oh my God, that is so good. Okay, I think I need to turn that into a pillow. Why has to be life or death? Because everything I start, it's why. Mm-hmm. Why is my word. And Simon Sinek, when he wrote his book, it's like, oh, yeah, that's got to be for me. So there we go. Why must be life or death. I like that. I really like that.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, this has been a phenomenal show. I thank you so much. The last thing I always ask, and this is going to seem like pushing it because you've given so many great takeaways, but I always ask at the end of the show if you would share with our audience one little tip that they can implement in their life, business and or personal, immediately.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things that I tell people, well, I'm going to give you two. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. The first one is, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, because it's not going to work. And I will tell you, I struggled for 5 years before I got profitable because I did stuff that didn't feel good. And once I made that shift to what did feel good, that changed everything.
So good.
And the second thing that I want to leave you with is the hero's journey, and what that means is an allegory to your life. Every person truly is the main character, the hero of their own life. And we can get lost in all of these other archetypes that we are for other people. But you have to remember to come back to center for you and really own it, so that you can show up in the way that you're meant to be here, in the way that you deserve to be here.
You are so incredibly wise beyond your years.
Oh, thank you.
I have to say thank you. It has been absolutely magical to have you be my guest today.
Thank you.
And I just, yeah, I'm absolutely almost wordless, which if you knew me, you'd know that's almost just incredible with all the takeaways PollyAnna has given you today. Go out, just climb those mountains, slay those dragons, overcome everything, because quite frankly, she just handed you the tools. And we could all use a few more tools. I'm Elaine Lindsay of True Social Media, your host for Business Banter Plus TV, with my incredible guest, the Biz Fairy Godmother, PollyAnna Brown. Thank you so much. And don't forget, folks, we're going to have all her links and information on the page on Business Banter Plus TV. Have a great day. Make it matter. And we'll see you next time when we'll be talking to the abundance astrologer. BBPTV is sponsored by True Social Media, TTLO Inc., The Start Something Show, and the Business Success Cafe.